Why can't you do this without the Databox MCP? Because you're not going to get, yeah, I tried it. It doesn't work. It may be in the wrong structure. And I don't understand what Databox is doing under the hood. You can explain more about that. But there's something going on
Yeah.
that it works with Databox and it matches when I check it, but it doesn't work if I don't use Databox.
Welcome to Move the Needle, the show where we explore how teams turn data into growth. Real stories, proven playbooks. Let's get into it.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Move the Needle, Databox's podcast about how companies are moving the needle, improving some metric, growing their business in some way. Today, I have a special guest, longtime collaborator and friend, Rick Kranz. Rick is a three-time founder, two-time founder, two times exit entrepreneur, built a few businesses and sold them, in other words. And he started the AI marketing automation lab 18 months ago, 2 years ago, Rick? When did you start it?
Yeah, it's about 18 months ago, right? Yeah, 18 months ago, exactly.
Cool. So you've done a variety of stuff. You had a agency before this. Before that, you had a manufacturing company that you
Right.
built and ran. You sold that. And then you started an agency. You did that for a long time. Then you sold the agency to another agency, right? Worked there for a little while. And then you saw the AI stuff happening and you're
Yeah.
like, hey, shit, this is my window. I'm not so old that I can't figure this out, and I'm old enough to know that this is a big deal. So you kind of went out on your own, right? And
Yeah.
started
Yeah.
something up. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing there at the AI Marketing Automation Lab. What's the business model? And
Yeah. So the business model, we have two ways we work. One is the primary one where we started is the community. And so we have a community that is basically it's for implementers. So if you want to be the person in your organization who can say to leadership, I've looked at this process we're doing, here's how we can totally automate it, here's what it'll cost, here's how long it'll take, here's what it means to maintain it, and here's what the impact will be on the bottom line. If you want to be that person inside your organization, then this is what we create inside of our lab. We teach people to do this, and every lab member that we've had has actually gotten to that level now where they can look at their system, and they're remodeling their systems inside of their own organizations. So, and that's what we focus on. Very hands-on training. It's not, you're not watching any videos.
yeah,
We're building systems with
so
you.
you run sessions each week, and from what you told me in the past, you're doing like multiple tracks almost. It's like you're running a little university over there where you have like different courses or tracks, and then each week you're building a component of something in each track. So like
Yeah,
each track is designed to launch something, right?
that's
Uh,
right. Yeah.
so I don't know, maybe walk us through some of the things that you like what those tracks are, courses are, what the systems that your team or your members have built.
Yeah, so a big one that everyone really wants to build is the AIO system, or it could be AEO or GEO, depending on
Right.
where you're coming
They
from,
are
right?
getting cited and
Yeah.
being mentioned in LLMs in Claude, Anthropic, Gemini.
Yeah, yeah. So it really takes that job that would be almost humanly impossible to coordinate all that information and create enough content at scale
Right.
to be cited and recommended inside of these LLMs when someone's asking, for recommendation, especially in the B2B space. This system does it, and our members have taken this and customized it. Like even one of our members, Keith from Mogility, he's turned it into a whole service that he's providing for their clients, their HubSpot partner,
Okay.
and he's been transparently providing it for them. They know what it is and how it works, and they've been using it for, I guess, 8 months now. And now he's turned it into like a monthly service that you can just rent it and use it. So, I mean, they're taking what we
So he,
start.
he's taken like something that you guys helped him build, um, and he's almost like licensed it to a client. The client uses it on their own and pays him a monthly fee. So you basically helped him build and launch a product of some sort.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, but the beauty thing about it is that he's added so much more of his own stuff to it, right?
Right.
Implemented our RAG system, so we teach everybody how to build a RAG system, and it's
For those of our listeners that aren't familiar with that, demystify what a RAG system is for us.
I won't. I'm not going to get into the acronym itself, but
Yeah.
just what it is, it's a way to store your proprietary information in a vector database. And a vector database is just taking unstructured data like words and PDFs and stuff like that,
Images, yeah.
and turning them into numbers so they can be retrieved instantaneously
Yeah.
in a semantic fashion. Semantic meaning when you ask a question, it's not looking at the keywords in your question, which you can easily do with a database. It's actually understanding the context of what you're asking and then retrieves that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
So if you
and-
connect your RAG system, just to give people a practical application, how they connect your RAG system to, say, Claude or N8N or something like
yeah,
that.
in this particular instance, we built this on make.com and
Okay.
Airtable, but it could just as easily been at, like you built yours, right, on N8N and Airtable and some other database systems. And then it could pull from the RAG system. So when you're writing about a specific topic, it goes in and pulls from the RAG system. So the AI, which is doing the writing and the editing and the researching, is told to only use information that is inside this system. So it's not using anything it's trained on. It's not using information that the internet already has.
Right.
It's using it.
When creating content, right, it's important that marketers create content that's unique and also relevant to their customer and their business, right?
Right.
And so the way that a RAG system enables that is you can store all the content or source material that you create, like call transcripts or point of view perspective from your internal team, right? Like, and so you can store that in that RAG system,
Yeah.
vector database, whatever. And then the AI can pull from that when it's creating content, so that the content ends up being unique and
Yes.
and appropriate for your audience.
Yeah. You can even store all your existing blog posts. We store all our images. You could store, if you're an agency, you can store all of your clients' images in a RAG system.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you're looking for something specific,
Basically, pulling from everything you have, pulling from raw material that you might have collected.
yeah, and you can make sure you're not rewriting something you already have that's performing well. So,
Yep.
yeah, it can get pretty crazy. But the point is this is what's going on inside of our community.
Right.
We start here's a system, teach them how to build it, and then they take it to a whole nother level, which it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch people develop and their eyes open like.
You've
Wow.
been doing it for a while, and I know you have a number of members in your community. And you, as you alluded to, we are a member of your community. Member of our marketing team, Nevena, is in your community, and she built what you're talking about. She's taken that to the next level. We're even like building out
Yeah.
even more sophisticated stuff that allows us to produce content across mediums, different content types, like an opinion piece versus a how-to article, a video script, and then across channels. So like and we have RAG databases set up with our existing content, our perspectives on the market, how we position our product, who we're selling to, all our call transcripts and customer communications, videos that our partners create that show off how they use our products. So like we have all that stuff organized. So when we want to create something new, it's not hard, right? And we can repurpose content very quickly.
I would say, adding on to what you were saying is, you guys have taken like 10 levels above.
Oh,
what
really?
Nevada has done, yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool. We actually have gone back and now adding more to bringing context out of our client meetings and bringing that into some of this, like
Awesome.
basically our lab sessions. So bringing examples of what's going on in our lab sessions, it's extracting it and bringing them into the content creation.
Okay. Got it. So it's like content is, the way I look at it is content's kind of a byproduct of doing work, serving customers, right? So that's what you've figured out because you have a community where they're building things and probably more than willing to talk about it. for the most part. And so you can just literally take your sessions that you're running and feed that into your own content machine and output content based off of that.
That came from your brain because you said to me, write about what you're doing. I'd laugh.
Yeah, it's such a foreign concept for people. I think people try to write to convince other people to do something different, and just like write about what you're doing. It's like people are like, "Oh, I wanted that," right?
Yeah, I just, it didn't click for me until you hit me over the head with it. I think probably the 20th time. It's like, oh, wow, that makes sense.
I actually just this morning just like did a session with our sales team, and I taught them. I showed them the simple skill that I have built in Claude that, and they're using. Some of them are already doing, but now the rest of them are going to use the skill that I built that pulls data from all of not just the content we've created, but the performance of that content, and then it helps them write. So it walks them through like a 5-step process
Nice.
where they pick the angle and the hook, and then it like looks at all the content I've written on LinkedIn and says like that angle should work based on these other articles or these other posts because it's similar to that, and then here's a hook that might work, etc. And like they approve the angle, then they approve the hook, then it drafts the outline. Once it drafts the outline, and then it drafts the post, and they can edit and give feedback on each step. So it makes the content creation easy for them, but also allows them to like tell their own story because the input to it is a call transcript or 2 call transcripts or a call transcript and an article that the marketing team might have written or something. So because they're kind of approving each step, it can it's still coming from their source material, their calls, and their brain.
Yeah, well, that's the cool thing about that is because you get off of call and you've been on a call with a prospect or a client and they usually there may be actually some testimonials in that call that just went by you because you're focused on helping them with something else.
Right.
And there may be some story moments in that call of how you helped them, but you're not thinking about that. Like, why would you be thinking about that? That's not what you got on the call for.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden that transcript, instead of getting the generic summary that you get from like Fireflies and one of these other things, like here's what it said, here's what you have to do. Like, no, we built a system that takes that and finds the testimonials now, and grades them, and then finds the story moments.
So you're actually like you have an agent sort of that's like browsing through calls that you have.
Yeah.
And it's looking for those things.
Yeah, that they all get built out into an Airtable and graded, and then we have a Claude skill that I work with now. The Claude skill I work with every morning to uncover content ideas goes through all the emails and transcripts and anything I read that I thought was worthwhile.
Yeah.
Now is told to lean 70% towards what we're actually doing inside the lab, what other people are doing, like what other people are accomplishing.
Yeah.
And it's taking those moments now. And you see my last 2 LinkedIn posts.
Yeah, I did. I noticed. Yeah, you talked about Keith actually, right? The Keith.
Yeah. And that comes from that, surfacing that for me. It's like, okay, even if you, if I was a great writer, which I'm not, I would say, okay, I'm going to write this, but I still wouldn't have the information, right? So the system actually uncovers it for me. The first thing it does is it uncovers this and says, this is what you should write about. And I have a choice there. I could just write it myself or let it write it for me and then edit it.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, but the beauty of it is like, not only did you not have to like think about it or plan it, you just like had to like look at what it produced for you and then take it to the next step and finish it. But it's just a byproduct of the work you're doing. So it's like, that's the cool part. So nice. So we're not quite at automated content production, but you've automated, I think, maybe the hard parts or the time consuming parts. How's that?
Yeah, I don't believe in automating content production for LinkedIn. And that's the primary social channel we're on. I think, if you're engaging in social media, you're writing for people, and your comments should be coming from you. I never use AI for commenting. You can tell my comments because they're poorly written, but they come from the heart, right?
Yeah.
And they come with the moment. And if my LinkedIn posts, I would
Yeah.
It mostly, I would say 50% me, 50% AI surfacing stuff. I just think that's just my philosophy.
Yeah.
When it comes to blogging, though, I mean, you're writing for an algorithm, or now you're writing for AI. So I feel like machine to machine is going to do a better job
Yeah.
with that. But
Gotcha.
not in the B2C space, though.
So,
If you're
so when,
B2C,
when yeah, on social media, you're writing, you're not automating completely. What
no.
you're saying though is for maybe for SEO where you an AEO where you're writing for the machines to consume
Hmm.
content,
Yeah.
like it's probably okay as long as the content is still unique, right?
Right. And that's the thing where, yeah,
Yeah.
you got getting the content. Well, we did a whole webinar together on how to create unique content
Right. Exactly.
for AI, right? And it's still relevant. It still works that way.
Yeah.
Whether you do it by hand or use AI for it,
Yeah.
it's still relevant. The other thing we do
Yeah.
at our lab is actually we build custom systems for organizations. So for companies, we work mostly with small and mid-size
Yep.
companies, but companies that don't have somebody to send to the lab to learn how to do this,
Yep.
we do that for them. We come in, look at the systems,
Yeah.
pick one that we think would be the best to start with, give them the budget, set it up, train them, and give them maintenance and access to the school if they want to join the school.
Yep.
So and then they own it. They own everything. It's no
Right. Yeah. You're helping them build the system, but then they own and they maintain and they operate. I mean,
yeah. It's really just an extension of what I was doing as sales enablement work.
okay.
Was
Yeah. So
going
your
in.
previous agency, you were doing sales enablement work where it was
Yeah.
more build the system and then they run it. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you have this dual model. You have this like membership thing where you're just showing them. They're showing up to classes. You're showing them how to do it. They're going off and building it. And then you have the more of a we'll do it with you or do it for you model, which is more of a consulting model. What's interesting about your business is different. It's different than I think I've seen other AI implementation firms go. Oftentimes, or the ones that I've seen most, it's like they have a product that they built, and they're like, "We'll implement this thing for you." And it's more of they'll do the implementation and even manage it on an ongoing basis for them,
Right.
which I think is a good model. And then I've seen the model of like, hey, we are an AI implementation firm, and we're going to come in and like assess everything that's going on in your business, identify all your functions, your roles, your processes, and then we'll sit there and say like, which one should we AI enable first, and then they'll build custom solutions. So I think what's interesting is you're kind of you're in the middle a little bit where of those two solutions where it's not like you have it completely productized, but you do have a bunch of systems that you built that you've taught
Yeah.
people how to build that you can help people get up and running with quickly when they join your community, but then you also are helping them implement those. But you're not going so far as like, let's AI everything in your business. You're stopping short of that and staying kind of
No.
your
Yeah. No. Yeah.
around marketing and sales use cases, it seems.
Yeah, that's never been my philosophy. Even when I was doing sales enablement, I was more about let me tell you what not to do. Let's first knock out the stuff you've been doing,
Yeah.
and let's stop doing that, and that money will go right to your bottom line.
Yeah.
And here's what you can do, and find the one thing that's going to move the needle first. Yeah, don't do everything.
It's probably safe to say that you're a believer in implementing AI, and but like when you're talking to someone that's maybe a little skeptical, they're not as knee deep or neck deep in it as you. They haven't built and launched systems yet. Maybe they're using the Claude or Chat GPT interface, but they haven't built skills. They haven't built automations. They haven't automated a string of work, right? What do you say to them? How do you counter them? How do you use what you've done already to like say, hey, here's what's working for other people?
Because we built so many systems, I just share my screen and just show them here's what we built, and here let's give me something and I'll throw it in and let's see what comes out.
Okay.
So it could be a blogging system, it could be the RAG system, it could be the persona table that we built out. These Could be one of the systems that we built out with Databox MCPs.
Yeah.
And so it basically, it's a show and tell. If they don't, if they don't know most don't know, like what could be done, or
Right.
what would this look like. So just show them.
Okay.
I had like a painting contract company
Yeah.
said, I was thinking of hiring. We're exploding, and I can't handle the work. The owner said to me, I was thinking of hiring an assistant, but I can't afford assistant for more than 3 days a week. Someone told me I should talk to you. You can create an AI assistant for me.
Okay.
So all I did, I put a demo together. I created an AI voice assistant for him and let him start talking to it, and it was able to generate quotes while he's at the site for his prospects. Like he could just talk to it. He could just stream of consciousness talk
Right.
to it, and then it shot him over a QuickBooks estimate. He's using QuickBooks,
Okay.
and he's like, okay, this is crazy, insane. Yeah.
Because he was
So, yeah,
probably going back to the office, right? Trying to remember what he took some pictures, right? Like,
yeah, right. And that's and he could just walk through the house, and because what it's doing, it's just gathering the information and passing it off to another agent.
Right.
Like we're using Claude as the second agent to
Yeah.
go through that stream of consciousness and organize everything, and then through MCP, it's connecting to QuickBooks and creating
Yeah.
the quote and then sending it back to him. So.
Got it.
Yeah, it's the stuff that you can do yes, the basic promise is just demo. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's
So
just
proof of concept is often easier. I'm guessing you're not trying to convert skeptics, but you're trying to just educate people that may not know what's possible.
Yeah, I learned a long time ago, don't do the two-step sales process. HubSpot was good at that. You
Yeah.
guys had to do that the early days. First convince people that inbound was a thing,
Yes. Yeah.
and then that you need the software
And
to
show
do
the
it, right?
ROI, the
Yeah,
calculation, and all that stuff. But you don't have to do that. You're not doing that.
Try not to, no. Yeah.
In that case, like you saved that guy. Like you got an introduction, of course, but he shared with you that he was trying to think how to afford an assistant, and you just showed him no, he doesn't need an assistant,
Right.
at least for some things. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, not for not if you're just going to have someone that's going to answer the phone for
Yeah.
you, yeah, and
Yeah.
when
But
you
the
need to.
ROI is obvious in that case. Yeah. So how many systems do you think you've inspired, or like your members and everything have gotten live? Like, what do you think your impact's been in the 18 months?
Well, our community is still small, even though we're capping it at 60 members,
Okay.
so that it could always be hands-on, and we have small sessions. We do 3 to 5 a week, depending on who's around and what we're building. And I would say we're still only half full.
Okay.
But I think looking at the impact, there's some,
There's
I would
got to
say,
be hundreds of systems live as a result.
yeah,
Your efforts.
there's definitely, just in the lab, we have over 100 systems that we built, and
Okay.
some of them I've retired, like, things in the beginning were like,
Right.
we did some things that were cool.
Yeah.
But the stuff that actually works is still, we probably have 50 automations running at any given time
In your own business, you mean?
in my own business. Yeah.
Okay. And those are all things that you've made available to some degree, at least to your.
Yeah, they're all available. And, if you're in the community, they're all available in our platform. You just go in, you can download them.
And you just charge like a few $100 a month for the membership, right? Per person.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. It's it's like $345 a month, but it's really hands-on. I mean, nobody seems to leave.
Yeah. But they get like access to all the old skills. So, and like once they probably go through a few sessions with you, they probably learn how these things are built, so that they can then go and like intelligently pull a skill down and implement it effectively, right?
Yeah, and then they build their own. That's
Yeah.
crazy stuff that I wouldn't even think of.
Okay. Yeah, they're tailoring it or customizing.
And that's what I hear most. The biggest value people are saying, the biggest value that they're getting out of the community is the community. When we meet,
Yeah.
when we have a session like this, we're on a Zoom meeting, and maybe there's 5 or 8 of us at a time. it's the ideas coming from everyone that's been building and helping make recommendations for what someone else could build to solve the problem that they're trying to solve.
Yep. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Walk us through your changing subjects a little bit. Walk us through your preferred AI stack. A term I've been thinking about using more. AI stack.
AI stack.
Yeah, it's like we have marketing stacks and sales stacks, but I think there's a whole new AI stack that's forming. It's really changing the way software not just gets built, but like the way you kind of assemble.
Yeah. So
Your thoughts?
it's right now, and it evolves constantly, right? Right now,
Yeah.
my favorite AI stack is Airtable as a simplistic base, a very simplistic database visually for holding information. And you can store images or text or
Yeah.
data for processing, right? And then you could put the reprocessed stuff back into Airtable.
Yeah.
For automation, it's Make. Early on, I looked at N8N and Make, and I felt that in the early days, Make had better guardrails
Okay.
for ensuring that it did exactly what you wanted it to do and nothing more. In the early days, N8N was all about giving one AI agent the opportunity to do whatever it wanted and send stuff around, which was cool. Like if you're in a hobbyist and you're like building it, but I'm building systems that have to be 100% reliable for businesses.
Okay.
So that and that's changed. You guys know that because you guys use N8N. So I'm not saying don't use that. I just
Right.
stuck. We made a choice.
Build a lot on Make, and
Yeah, we built a
I
lot of
think
Make.
at
And
this point, Make does most of what NNN does at this point. Have they caught up with like calling LLMs and returning results from LLMs and all that?
Make,
Yeah. Hmm.
it did that in the early days.
It did. Okay, got it.
Early days. So what I like about it is everything is easy to plug in and plug out. So
Okay.
most of our automations run several different LLMs in one automation, and then if something changes, we just pull it out. Like we're having a problem in the early days of Claude. It was getting overrun. The API was getting overrun a lot, and it would stop. So we just pull it out, throw Gemini in. That's a 30-second switch out. So it's basically just pulling things out, plugging things in. So it's easy to update and keep updated. I'm sure NAN is just as good at that too.
Yeah, I thought that was what their like original thing is. Maybe Make had it before, but the other difference, right? And you tell me if I'm wrong, but in N8N you can kind of write code, so I think developers like N8N a little more. It gives them a little more flexibility versus
Yeah, and I'm not an NAN expert. I don't have real experience, but that's what I hear. That yeah, it's a lot easier. Also, N8N you could just tell Claude to write it for you.
Okay.
You don't even have to drag and drop anymore. You can
Oh, I
just
see. Yeah.
you can just tell Claude to write, and
Write
it'll
the
write
code and plug it in.
it'll write the code, the JSON. I believe it's in JSON, and it'll just upload it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So make N8N and now Claude Cowork is a big part of what we do, right? Databox MCP has become part of the tech stack that we love. Yeah, I'll dive into more on
Okay.
why
Yeah.
that. Pinecone for vectorization.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does Pinecone help you vectorize the stuff for Airtable, or is it like a separate thing?
So Pinecone's really storage. We're using for the vectorizing, we're using the LLMs, and we use IBM's advanced system, the Dockling. So everybody in the lab it was probably one of the most complicated sessions that we ran. It took about 6 or 8 sessions.
Okay.
Everybody built out the Dockling system that IBM open sourced,
Okay.
which is it's an amazing system for RAG systems for vectorizing. It's a hybrid chunking and vectorizing system. So
Okay.
it's really good at figuring out the context and where to cut things off. So if you know anything about vectorizing,
No, I don't.
it's good. I won't get into it. It's a little, it's a little weird.
Yeah.
But basically, it's the difference between most vectorized systems will just if you thought of it as like, okay, I got this book of 500 pages, and it's going to take each page and rip it off equally. It doesn't care what's on the page. It's okay. This
Right.
is one vector. This page 2 is another vector. It doesn't care. The dockling system will actually understand the page,
Okay.
and when the thought is complete,
That's
it
what
rips it apart, and then it leaves the other thought. And so the rest of that page may belong to the next 3 pages, and it'll keep those together. And,
got it. So it's
so when you
kind of does the reasoning or the thought process of an LLM in order to do the vectorization.
yes,
Okay.
yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. I think that's our
Yeah.
current tech
So,
stack.
so more lately, like you've been publishing skills free,
Yeah.
and you created, like I obviously know the ones that you created that leverage the MCP. I don't know if you created other ones, but you've been offering these Claude skills. Like they all kind of have a theme around the ones that I've seen around doing data analysis, of course, with the MCP server. What's your thought process? Why are you giving them away for free instead of like saying, "Hey, you got to join the membership and to get them"?
I think yeah. What is the thought process around that? I always felt like you need to give some value first, right?
Yeah.
And in the early days, well, we used to create what, PDFs and give
Yeah,
them away.
ebooks, right? Yeah,
Ebooks, yeah. And the dirty secret that we never told anybody
yeah.
in the marketing world is that nobody reads ebooks. They just collect them and keep them on their hard drive, and they
Right,
feel like
I'll download it and read it tomorrow, and they never do. Right?
it checked off a box, and
Yeah.
yeah, you felt good about it. Okay, I downloaded that. That's good. I'll read that tomorrow.
Right.
But now we're giving away these skills. It's great to hear feedback from people that like, oh, I installed that and it works, and it's like,
Yep.
wow, that is cool.
Yeah.
And I didn't think about it before. I didn't think about doing skills before until you guys released your MCP,
Okay.
the data.
Yeah.
Because it's like the one thing I try to look at AI, like how to use AI. I don't teach people to use AI to do more of what they're already doing or do it faster. We
Okay.
try to look at using AI to do something that wasn't possible before. And I don't mean it wasn't possible in the sense that it was impossible. Wasn't possible because it was impractical cost-wise
Yep.
or time constraint-wise. So
What,
certain
what was impractical time constraint wise?
whatever you want to automate with AI.
Okay.
So I'll give you an example. Data analysis. In a full data analysis of looking at all your different sources of data coming in. Most companies didn't have a data scientist or a data analysis nerd that was really into that, right? Especially small and mid-sized businesses.
We're not all nerds, Rick, but okay, keep going.
Well, it's not a bad thing. I mean, I'm a nerd. Yeah, it's like fine. I didn't mean it in a bad way.
I'm joking.
Yeah, I meant it in a good way. So, we don't all have all those brainiacs that want to sit and do that,
Right.
And
Or have the time to do it. Or,
the time. And even if they did, it could take days to figure some of this stuff out, to really cross-reference everything.
yeah.
So that is something that was kind of impractical for a lot of companies to do, but the information was there. So the early days, Databox made it easy to gather this information
Right.
and create charts from it.
Yeah.
So you could, through Databox, which was brilliant, you can get your data from Facebook ads, from Google ads. You can get your data from Google Analytics. You can get your data from Google Console. You can get your data from your CRM, like what are the conversions, what are the visits. You can get all of that into one hub where the data is, I'll use a word, it's probably not the correct word, but normalized, meaning it all matches in a sense. So that,
Yeah.
yeah. So if you're looking, I want to look at this week, you don't have to worry about like, well, this, what's the week begin for that one?
Yep.
Databox handles all of that, and you could create these charts. So you can create charts, and it's like, okay, now which charts do I create? And then you create all these charts. And to a lesser extent, you could do some of that with CRM systems, but to a much lesser extent. Databox is pretty comprehensive. And we used to build them for clients, and the problem I saw was that, okay, you build them to get excited about them, but they don't really use them in the sense that looking at it, and then there's some obvious things, yeah. So traffic and
Yep.
certain thing, and ads in AdWords and stuff like that becomes pretty obvious. But some of the stuff is not obvious. So when you release the MCP,
Yeah.
which if anyone doesn't know, listening to this, it's Model Context Protocol. Basically, it's the equivalent of a USB cable between software systems, right? So you can take your USB-C cable and connect it to anything that has a USB-C, and it'll work. But that's what MCP does. So now with the Databox MCP, we can connect it to Claude Cowork and build a skill to be that analyst,
Yep.
to be that brainiac, right? And it's incredible what can be done, stuff that just couldn't be done in the past, cross-referencing all sorts of information together and getting advice from the AI. One of the favorite things that we built and released is called Sales Pulse.
Okay.
Now, I've worked with a lot of salespeople, built a lot of sales dashboards inside of HubSpot for salespeople, and they really liked it. But did they really use it? No. Some did. Sometimes the sales manager, sometimes the CEO would look at it, right?
Yeah.
And it was too many dashboards, like too many graphs and stuff. Like,
Right. Yeah, too much to interpret. What I find is that what we found, and this has been true since I've been selling dashboard and reporting software for the last 9 years, right? Is that most people use dashboards as a report card. And so, like, at that point, it's over. And there's maybe not much you can do. Maybe you can change going forward. But, like, if you only look at the dashboard thoroughly, or the dashboards thoroughly once a month, then you're missing out on opportunities and issues until they've kind of, you might have missed the window for the opportunity, or let the issue drag on and cause more adverse effects. And so, it's the exact problem you named before is like people like to really analyze. You got to look at a lot of charts. You got to see like, how does this metric impact this metric? Oh, this metric is down. Why is that metric down? I got to break that down by multiple dimensions and see what might be down on, that's contributing to that bigger and more important number being down. And so like the amount of data you have to look at, remember, keep track of, understand the correlation, cause and effect between, like that's a lot. It's for most humans, it's not feasible.
No.
I have an analyst here at Databox, like a full-time analyst, and actually I pulled together a meeting this morning between him and a manager because he was analyzing something over here and coming to a different conclusion than the person leading the function. And I'm like, you guys got to talk and figure out why you're coming up with two different conclusions. And it's because the analyst was missing context, right? And so that's the other thing that's often missing. You got to have that context of what's actually happening that's maybe not measured in the numbers in order to filter these numbers. And so for a human to do all that, be good at the analysis of the data and also understand all the context, it's really hard. But the sales pulse is a perfect example. Your sales pulse skill is a perfect example of like, you don't need to look at all that data because the AI can step through all that data. And because you've given it instructions on how to do that, it can make good assumptions or good conclusions from it. Yeah,
exactly. And the human's context window, meaning how much information can we retain at one time,
right,
is minuscule compared to the context window of, say, Claude.
Right, especially if you start feeding it context and storing context about the situation.
Yeah. So it's we're really good at creating. There's stuff that we can do that I find AI has no ability to do when it comes to like coming up with creative ideas or strategies. Yeah. AI is still a little weak on that stuff. It just repeats stuff that's been done already. Right. But so in Sales Pulse, I wish I had this when I was doing sales enablement because I would have installed this for every salesperson.
Right.
What this does is it doesn't give you a chart right away. What it does, it gives you information. It tells you, so it analyzes 14 different metrics coming through from your CRM, all through Databox. So Databox pulls these together, and and we pull that metrics. It goes into a Claude skill,
Yep.
and Claude analyzes it. It looks for the trends. It looks for what's happening. It will analyze, like, when is your pipeline going to dry up if there's a problem, like, and what's causing that? What is the activity going on? Like, how many emails are going out? How many meetings have been had? It analyzes everything that's happening, and then it talks to the salesperson and shows them, like, this is what's happening. And then the salesperson has the ability to dig down further with it. So it'll ask, like, would you like to see a chart on this specific thing? And the salesperson could say yes or no and could create a different chart. So the salesperson is actually interactively creating charts to drill down and see what is going on that Claude is telling him that's going on. So I think that's a really...
giving some kind of corrective action, like, hey, your close rate is down.
Yeah. It's like, hey, you suck. Pick up the phone and call.
Yeah, or your activity is low, or your deal size is off, right? Like, it's going to look at those things and say, here's where the issue is, so that they can then think critically or dive deeper into why that might be happening.
Yeah, and even if it's doing well, it will find some subtle things that may be coming down the pike that you didn't realize, right?
Yep.
Activity seems to... Well, I know from my experience, my activity slows down the better I'm doing, right? The better the company is doing, my activity slows down. And then when the company's like, oh, shit, my activity speeds up, right?
Yeah, I think that's human nature to some degree. When your funnel is full, it's hard to make time to go and prospect. There's also less incentive because your funnel's full. But then all of a sudden, when your funnel dries up, you're like, oh, shit, and it's too late. So I think a tool like this, the sales pulse, allows you to stay ahead of it and say, like gives you a reminder, like, oh, you're doing great now, but next month doesn't look so great, right? If you don't.
Yeah, it looks like activity's slowed. It's slowed down. There's there's less coming in the top of the pipeline. Yeah, so it's a great tool, and like I said, I wish I had it when I was doing sales enablement work. Yeah,
got it. So the question I've been getting, so we've obviously been plenty of people like yourself out there who are using Databox plus Claude and Databox plus Make and Databox plus NAN, and in order to automate analysis, automate the identification of insights, issues, opportunities, in some cases taking action in an automated way. So we have plenty of people that get it, but my bigger struggle is people that don't get it. And the question I get quite a bit when I ask people, or the answer I get quite a bit when I ask people, are you doing data analysis with Claude? It's like, oh yeah. And then I ask them, how you doing it? And I get a few different answers. One I get is like, oh, I'm screen grabbing my charts from my systems and I'm pasting it in to Claude so it can explain to me what's going on or write a report for me. Or I'm downloading my data into a CSV or a spreadsheet and I'm uploading into Claude so that it can create a chart for me. Or I'll get, oh, I just connect all these individual MCP servers and then I do my analysis. And so I know you've tried or have done all of those things at some point along your evolution here. And so why is it that you use the MCP server instead of doing one of those other things?
Well, the MCP server, it gives access to because creating a chart is not the end. And so a lot of people think that taking data and getting a chart created that's the goal. That is not the goal.
Right.
There's two more steps after that goal. One step is analyzing, what does this chart mean, right?
Yeah.
And the second one is like, well, what do I do next? Like, what's the action that I got to take?
Yeah.
And that's
what happened, and what should I do?
Yeah, and that's why I bypass the charts completely. Just you can bypass the charts and just if you give Claude access to the Databox MCP, you can just give it all your data and say, okay,
when you're prompting Claude with the Databox MCP, you're just asking high level questions, right? And it meaning Claude and the Databox MCP is doing in-depth analysis with basic prompts, pretty basic prompts. You're not sitting there saying, analyze it this way and then this way and then this way, and if this, do this. Like, you're doing maybe some of that, but not a lot of that, right?
You don't have to. because it will figure it out. Like, so I write, so we create skills. So I'll work with Claude. My advice is if you want to do this on your own, the best thing to do is work in a Claude chat. Use Opus. Sonnet is fine, but Opus is much better at figuring this shit out. Use Opus. Have a conversation with Opus. Give it access to the Databox MCP. Tell it what you're trying to accomplish. Tell it you want to ultimately create a skill that you can run either every day or weekly that will give you this information. And then it's going to come back with some great ideas of how it could build this for you and what it would include. And it's going to start asking you questions like, what do you want to see here and there? And then have it just create the skill. And that's my process. Create the skill. So, and we have skills that we run every week. We have a content performance partner skill that goes across. It uses Databox MCP, but it's looking at our content. It's pulling content information from our HubSpot through Databox. It's pulling visits. It's pulling conversions from the HubSpot CRM from Databox. It's pulling Google Analytics, and it's pulling Google Console. Okay. And it's all running it through the filter of our ideal client profile, our ICP. Yeah. So that's like, nobody's doing that. It's like, okay, it doesn't, so data by itself doesn't really, could totally mislead you. It could say, hey, your traffic is doing great, right? Yep. But run that through a filter of your ICP, and it'll tell you. So the content performance partner will tell you that, okay, 60% of your traffic is not your ICP because of this one piece of content that's doing very, very well. Stop writing about that piece of content.
Right. So it's looking not just at the performance of the content, it's looking at the actual content itself and saying, does that content reach the ICP as Rick has defined it? And if not, then it's saying, hey, it's a great piece of content, or this content is performing well from a numbers perspective, but it's probably not helping you to grow your business because it's not the right ICP. Right.
Yeah, and it'll look at the deals, it'll look at the leads, like so ours, it did come back in that sense, and so we had a piece on building a RAG system, and it said, okay, no, that's appealing to really developers because we had a really in-depth articles on how to build a route RAG. So, and that's not our ICP, develops on our ICP. It also came back and said, even though it's looking at all the blog articles and everything, it said, look, you're killing it here on LinkedIn with your content and conversions. So do more of that.
Okay. All right, so it looked at it by channel as well.
Yeah, so it looks at it by channel. And
we have a similar system. So we publish on a lot of platforms, like almost all the social platforms, our website, YouTube, with different formats. So like each one of those systems, we're pulling in content that we published, and we actually have a weekly meeting where we review that content together because we have different people managing different channels. It's like, this is what worked here, and now we're at a point where multiple people can run the analysis and see what's working on other channels so that they can inform their own work that week. So, and at some point, I think we'll get to the point where like it's analyzing itself, all the channels, and like giving us direction or suggestions on what each channel should be doing, so that it continue to be involved.
I don't know if you post, but these are free skills. So I don't know if you're posting links with the podcast.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, so you have 4 skills. I think I know them off the top of my head. You got the sales pulse that analyzes an individual salesperson's effort, productivity, and gives advice. You have a newsletter subject line kind of creator. Like it looks at all of your past newsletters, looks at open and clicks, and identifies what works in your subject line. So as you're writing your next newsletter, it'll help you write one that'll get maximize opens. You have the content performance partner that you just mentioned, right? And what's the 4th one? There's
a weekly growth dashboard.
Oh, the weekly growth dashboard. Okay, yeah. Got it. Which is basically just running an analysis of your different channels and saying, here's what works.
Yeah, it runs a running. I think it runs a 6-month it's either 4 week or. I don't know. I think it's a 4-week rolling average. The last 4 weeks compared to the 4 weeks before. Yeah, it's a rolling average, and it gives advice on what's working and what changes to make. Yeah.
Yeah, got it. Very cool.
And they all pull from the Databox MCP.
Yeah. So the question I was trying to lead you to was more around like because
Why can't
Databox structures
why,
it. What's that?
why can't you do this without the Databox MCP?
Yeah. Why
Because
can't
you're not going to get. Yeah, I tried it. It doesn't work.
it just doesn't work? Yeah.
No. What are you going to do? So I'm going to hook it up to, okay, let's say in this case, I probably have at least 4 or 5 different sources, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not going, it doesn't pull the right information in. It just doesn't. It will pull some of the information in from one of the sources, and it may be in the wrong structure. And I don't understand what Databox is doing under the hood. You can
Yeah,
explain more
I
about that.
can. Yeah.
But there's something going on
Yeah.
that it works with Databox and it matches when I check it, but it doesn't work if I don't use Databox.
This is my conundrum. The sales team is starting to get the same objection where it's like, why can't I just hook up all my MCPs to Claude and do that? And just why do I need Databox? And so I explained it to the team in technical detail. Like, I'm not an engineer anymore. I haven't written code in a while, so I'm probably 90% right. But I explained it to them, like all the things that we do behind the scenes. And then at the end of it, I'm like, I'm not sure it makes sense for you to explain that to anyone because I don't know if anyone's going to understand it. And so it's like this. It's like our answer has to be like, trust me, bro.
Trust me, bro.
Right? So it has worked, but yeah, like at a very high level, like you need to define a bunch of things, and it's like you can do this elsewhere, but you need other tools besides Databox, and you'll have to piece multiple tools together to do it. But you need 3 things. One, the understanding of a semantic layer, which is basically how all your data is connected. Like, a simple example is your CRM, right? It deals and salespeople, deals and accounts, right? Deals and contacts. They all have a relationship, and so the system needs to understand those relationships. Now that gets really complex when you start connecting or relating data across systems, from your CRM to your financial system, from your financial system to your your internal operation system, right? And like you might have multiple pieces of software, so you need a system like Databox to store those relationships between those different objects or tables. That's one. The other one is metric definitions. Most of the time, the data is stored in a way that makes sense, but not to a human that's looking at it. We can't possibly look at all of the data and turn it into a KPI effectively without some math in between. It could be as simple as like, I need to add all these things up to get a sum for the hour, for the day, for the week. Or it might be as complicated as like, I need to calculate, it could be, not that's as complicated, but it could be more complicated, like calculating a ratio, in which case you're calculating a ratio for a day. You can't add up the ratios from every day and divide them by the number of days, because that'll give you a different ratio if you look at the raw data from the whole week, right? So there's those rules, and those are just 2 simple rules. There are other rules, like sometimes a number going up is good, sometimes a number going up is bad. And so there's all these little rules that we've defined that are related to each KPI in our system. And we've defined many of them out of the box for all the integrations that we've built. And it's also possible for customers to go in and define these things easily in our interface. So once those things are defined, then you're doing the calculation of the KPI consistently. The third thing that's needed is doing statistical math in a consistent way in order to compare KPIs. So if you're going to want to understand and do analysis of data, you need to understand cause and effect. So mathematically, you need to know, is this number correlated to this one? For example, if my salesperson has more meetings, do they close more deals? Usually that's true. And so that would be an effective correlation. But the system doesn't know that. It needs to know what's the math. And it also could not be true. There could be some sales reps that do way more calls but don't close as many deals. So it's important to be able to do that comparison to see if there's correlation or not. And that's just one. Correlation's one, and detecting anomalies when something's out of whack, where there's usually an issue. There's trends, right? Understanding how something's trending, which may not be something due to something you control. And so you need to understand trends independent of correlations. So all that math gets done in Databox so that the LLM can do what it's good at, which is stepping through questions and thinking, grabbing answers and following a process of some sort to do an analysis, and explaining the actual results in words. That's what an LLM's good at.
Right.
It's not good at all the other stuff that I mentioned. Understanding your data, defining your metrics, doing the math, all that.
So that's why it works.
That's why.
But there's also something, and correct me, I may be wrong on this, but I tried to connect just for a test Claude to HubSpot marketing, and I don't think there's an MCP for HubSpot marketing.
No, they haven't exposed the marketing data via their MCP server
Yeah.
yet.
So if you're on HubSpot, you're not going to get any of your marketing information
That's right. Yeah.
unless you use Databox.
Yeah, Keith actually in your course wrote an article on this. There's other things too, like something you mentioned earlier. Like if you want to do a month-over-month comparison, you need the data structured in a certain way, and so that the month-over-month analysis can be done. So that's one simple one. But there's all kinds of other limitations. It's not just HubSpot. I don't want to just pick on HubSpot. A lot of MCP servers just expose the API data, but again, that doesn't mean the semantic layer is exposed. It doesn't mean that the metrics have been converted to KPIs. In fact, most systems that we use on a day-to-day basis do not have a capability to convert raw data into a KPI. All they do is take the raw data and plot it, like just put it on a chart. And so in order for us to be able to allow a user to just visualize data from multiple systems, we had to come up with that solution of turning raw data into KPIs so that we had one time series to show and could standardize on time, date ranges, and date pickers and things like that. So we've had to solve that problem for visualization purposes. It just so happens that also becomes really valuable when you want to do data analysis with AI.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing I would say, the reason we use Databox is, as a rule, I teach everyone to use trusted third-party systems that don't contain AI to connect to your proprietary information. Like we don't connect Claude. Like I said, I just tested it. We don't connect Claude to our email or to our calendars or any AI to our stuff like that, or to or to our CRMs.
Okay.
For two reasons. The first reason is primarily it's not going to pull the right data or all the data. Like I can't ask an AI to look at all my emails. It's just not going to do that, right? It's just the context window. It'll blow up, use all the tokens.
Yeah.
So we always use trusted third-party systems, like whether you use Make or N8N as an automation platform, or Zapier, right?
Yeah.
Or Databox. So these are trusted third-party systems that have been around forever.
Yeah, we have a customer support.
They work, and then they have customer support. Those expose the information that we want, so it actually collects the correct information that we need to give to the AI.
Right.
So the same thing. So in a non-data box scenario, let's talk about emails. Like I want certain emails exposed to the AI, but I don't really want it going through my inbox because I know it's not going to grab everything, right?
Gotcha.
So
Yeah.
I use an automation like Make to go through the inbox and parse everything correctly into the form it needs, and then feed it to the AI for an analysis, right?
Gotcha.
And then the AI, and then there's the safety reason too, in case you just don't want exposure.
Yeah, I think another reason to do that too is it actually reduces your credit usage, right?
Yes.
I'm sure you've run into it.
You get a lot more out of your token usage, especially if you're running Claude and Opus.
Right. If you're running Claude and you're connecting to 5 different MCP servers to try to do data analysis, it's going to guess and check a million times before it gets it right, which is just going to blow through your credits. Whereas if you use Databox, the first thing that the data Claude does with the Databox MCP is figures out what data source to use. And second thing is figures out what data set or metric to use. And so it's doing it very methodically. And if you give it instructions to say, like, I want to look at these 3 data sources, these 4 data sets, these 12 metrics, it'll do just that. And you won't have to, it won't be hunting around for everything, trying to figure out what's there. So.
Yeah. I remember early on you asked me, when I was doing this, you asked me what data sources in Databox did I expose? Did I ask it to look at? And I was like, I don't know. I just told it this is what I want. And then I opened the skill and we looked at it together, and I was like, oh yeah, here's all the data sources. It figured out on its own what it needed to pull from Databox.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
And I would have never known what to expose.
It will do that. If you say, hey, I want to analyze my sales performance for my sales team, right, to Claude, and it's hooked up to the MCP, you might say, hey, use the Databox MCP so it avoids trying to use other things. But yeah, it'll know, or Databox will know, all right, sales is related to a
Yeah.
CRM, so I'm going to look for CRMs, and then it's like I found this one. And you can set it up so it asks, or sometimes it just proceed to the next step. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty clever
Yeah.
at working with Databox and that. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so I nerded out when you guys released the MCP. I saw
Yeah,
right
you
away.
totally did. Yeah.
This is like a big change to what we can do now.
Yeah. Yeah, the world, I don't think people realize that everybody's still thinking, how do I use AI to create content? How do I use AI to like do my sales follow up or my prospecting? They're thinking about automating like the tasks that people don't get to or don't have time for, or it's like drudgery in a way, and it's not that hard. And I think what's missing from the conversation out there is that really hard stuff is possible now. Right? It's like the work that you're automating requires like a data analyst, maybe a developer sometimes, or in the old world, right? And a management person, like somebody that understands the business well enough to say like, this is what I'm doing and what we're analyzing. These are like, this is what my problem is, and like knows enough to ask the right questions of the data, or at least interpret the data. And so when a human has to do that, like there's 3 really expensive resources involved: a leader, a management executive, right?
Yeah.
A developer, and an analyst. And so like that automates some seriously expensive work. The other thing that I think most people aren't talking about is like that takes analysis from like a once a month, once a quarter thing to an anytime thing. And the depth of that analysis can be really, really deep. So now it's like you can have one leader, one VP, one executive, whatever, that actually is able to oversee way more, because we can monitor not just the actual numeric performance, but the actual work, because we can observe what customers are saying, or and have that instantly. We can record internal meetings. We have project management systems. Like, so in my world's changed quite a bit, where I used to like delegate initiatives down to everybody, and then once a quarter we'd review how those initiatives are going, and they'd propose what they're going to do next. We'd ask a lot of tough questions and make some decisions. And now it's more of like, I have a project, I have a bunch of context files in there for what we're doing or not doing, and then I connect to a Slack MCP, Asana MCP, Databox MCP, and I basically just start exploring, what are we doing, how's it working, what's the team, and then as I'm doing that, I'm like, here's the team doesn't seem to be thinking about this issue, or hey, they should try this. And so like, I can get to the point where like if I have a few hours blocked off, I can go deep in an area of our business without talking to anyone, write a memo and with a bunch of questions, a bunch of guidance, and send it off. And the following Monday, they're coming back with like, I read what you did. Here's some questions I have, or I read what you wrote. Here's some questions I have. I'm having trouble with this. How would I do this? And like, then they're off and running and building. And the speed at which we can do that, and the fact that we don't really have to wait for the quarter end to do it, enables us to move so much faster.
Yeah, I was just thinking about like, think about the course correction abilities now. Imagine if your automobile's GPS only updated every 10 or 20 miles.
Right.
I mean, that's how we used to run companies. Like, we'll look at, okay, monthly reports, quarterly reports, okay, and maybe we adjust, right? You make 1 year, 5-year plans. That was the old days.
Right.
I mean, now you can course correct as
soon as you make the wrong turn, you can say, hey, we made a wrong turn. Let's turn around, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think humans are ready to, organizations, I should say, are ready to move at this speed.
No. But it is cool that executives or non-executives, but people, a lot of these reports were just stuck behind firewalls of expertise. Like, certain people had the expertise and the responsibility for generating these reports. and sometimes they were, I guess, influenced by
Yeah, they're
someone
biased, maybe being protecting
biased.
their turf or protecting
Yeah,
their resources.
yeah, exactly. And now anybody in the organization, if you're open enough, can just get these reports right away.
Yeah, I think if an organization operates in a systematic way, right? If you sit down once, if you have a long-term vision and ambition, right, that you have agreed upon, if you sit down and say, like, what are we going to do in the next 12 months? Do we think that will help us get there, right? If you break that down into like quarterly projects or initiatives, and then you assign those to individuals or build teams to execute them, and then if those teams operate transparently, where they're sharing their weekly updates, their performance, what they're planning to do, what didn't work, et cetera, in some documented form. And it doesn't have to be fancy. It can be a Slack message. Like if the company's operating that way, then the ability to adapt and course correct, lean into what's working quicker, it's unprecedented. But there's a
Yeah,
lot of
because the amount of human work and effort that it took just to create the report to figure out, like, do we need to course correct? How is this working? That's eliminated. That's gone.
exactly, it's gone.
So
Right.
now you could actually do the intellectual work of
Yeah.
of figuring out, like, what is
Yeah,
the
if you have that data and you have the context of what was done and what's planned, like, yeah,
Yeah.
you have customer calls if that's relevant for the project, right? You have internal meeting notes, like all of that is easily recorded and accessed now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's a little scary, but it's also really powerful. Yeah,
Yep.
cool. All right. So what's next for the lab? What are you all planning to do next? What's your next big move?
Next big. Well, we're staying the course right now. We are trying to.
What's working?
What?
Just doing more of what's working.
More of what's working. We want to get more people into the class, and that's we're getting good referrals. So it's mostly word of mouth,
Okay.
and people coming from LinkedIn.
Yep.
People coming from Databox, from the mastermind group coming in.
Cool.
We're going to be doing more work with companies, so building out for companies.
Okay.
So I see more of that.
More like one-on-one customized.
Yeah, one-on-one custom
You're
automation.
helping
Yeah.
You're helping them more hands-on.
Yes, more hands-on, actually building, actually going in, looking at what makes sense to automate, designing the automation, installing it, training,
Okay.
and then leaving. So
Got
it's not a retainer model.
Yeah. Project model.
It's a project model for that.
Yeah.
And then anyone that we do that for gets access to our school, so they can come in, and that's where they can learn more about customizing if they want their existing automation, and learn how to run it on their own if they have the time
Nice.
to do that.
Why are you planning to do more one-on-one? Do you find that like some orgs just need more help, and that
Yeah. Not the organizations that need our help the most are the ones that have too much work.
okay,
And the ones that have too much work don't have the time,
right? But they maybe have some extra money to say, hey, like
but they have the money.
know we
Yeah.
can be more efficient, or we know we can be better at doing this more.
Yeah. We can't get to all of this, like the painting contractor example.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Got
the
it.
painting example. So the companies out there, those are probably our best types of prospects.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
because they're too busy. They're too busy. They don't have any personnel to send, and they just need a system now.
Got it.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I didn't say this earlier, but I was going to ask you about this. What I love is how focused you are on the getting the outcome, right? There's a lot of, I think, AI consultants out there that are explaining how to do things, like, oh, I'll show you how to do it, or I'll tell you how to do it, right? But you have this like hands-on kind of approach.
Mm-hmm.
You had that from the beginning, I think, even before maybe it was even possible to be that hands-on, right? Like before the tools were really that good. So like why, and I think that's the way you are. Since I've known you, you've always been like kind of a brass tacks boots on the ground type guy, but like, why did you go that way?
Because there was, well, one was to differentiate it.
Okay.
There were in there, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, there were a lot of people just launching these AI communities where they built automations and you could join and access and just grab the automation and install it.
Okay.
A lot of what I would call
More of a
marketing.
teaching model.
What's that?
More of a teaching model. Like they watch a video, grab it, and go.
No, not even videos, just grab and go.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So more just
Yeah.
access to the skills.
More access to the skills. So it was a low cost, high volume
Okay.
play.
Yeah.
And we started out with low cost. We actually modeled that for a couple of months.
Okay.
And it wasn't like, I said, okay, no, this is not where I want to be. The people that we want to work with are people like you, people who are seasoned, who are in the business, are actually working and have to do stuff. What was happening is we were getting a lot of people coming in that wanted to start their own AI,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Oh, recursive thing. Yeah.
And nothing wrong with that. And there was some great guys out there that I watched and followed in the early days that built great businesses doing that. But it's not where I wanted to go. I wanted to go with like, okay, more hands-on, because I think I got used to that working in my agency, working with companies,
Yeah.
working
Right. Yours is a little more like
with
an
CEOs and
agency model.
VPs of marketing, and then VPs of sales and salespeople. Yeah, it was more about, it did a lot of change management with
Gotcha.
people.
Yep.
So it seemed like that makes sense. Plus, it's a
Maybe
higher
it's
price point.
necessary for orgs. I think, we're 80 people here at Databox, and like it's a lot of effort just to get people to try stuff, and then to really learn it and like play around with it and experiment with it. Like, I learned something new this morning when I was showing my sales team, hey, here's how you do this. And it's like, oh, just type this, and like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. So like, I think there's a lot to learn.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just you learn by watching other people a little bit faster, right? And doing it with them, so you can see the tips and tricks and shortcuts and approaches.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I can't keep up with it all
Oh, no,
anymore.
none of us can. Yeah.
In the early days, it was, when Kelly and I launched this organization, we didn't have a lot of members, so I would spend 50 hours a week watching YouTube videos,
Okay.
learning everything and building. So, it was like, at that point, I kind of did know everything about all AI platforms, including video creation
Okay.
and audio creation and all that stuff. Now it's just accelerated so much, it's hard to keep up with. But what I really enjoy is, we have a lab session this afternoon. So invariably, somebody will bring in something and say, "Do you know this? They released this now. We could do that." And I'm like, "No, I didn't know that."
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's crazy. Like we're doing a lot with video production. We have like avatars that we built that we do, AI video production. We're working on like how to produce explainer videos now with AI. So
Are you using HeyGen?
yes, we're using HeyGen for the avatars.
good.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually created a fictionalized like person and a YouTube channel
That's good.
for that person, and that way we're not pretending it's someone else. But
Yeah, I like that concept better than just pretending it's somebody.
yeah.
Are you? Yeah.
Yeah. So cool. All right, we should probably wrap. We're at an hour and 20.
Yeah, my brain hurts too. I gotta eat.
Yeah. I can tell you're slowing down. Just kidding.
Well, me slowing down, I'm slow to start with, so it's gonna be pretty bad.
All right. So, what's one final word of wisdom? So let's just say someone's not doing data analysis yet. What would you tell them to go do? Like, how could they get
I would
started?
say just go to the link that Pete's going to provide with this podcast.
Okay.
There's 4 free downloads,
Yep.
and you don't have to pay for anything.
Yep.
Just download them and pick one and install it. It's self-installing. It's going to guide you through how to install it. And you need a Databox account, but it's free. You can get the free trial or the free account, right?
Yep.
So just start there. It's the easiest way to start.
Got it. Yeah, and I think like people don't realize how quick it can be. I've had it in the back of my head. I got to produce a video just to prove this to people, but you could be up and running using Claude and a free Databox account, doing data analysis in probably about 5 minutes if you're focused and don't get distracted by something else.
Yeah.
And it would do proper analysis, not.
Yeah. That's I would say that's accurate. Yeah.
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 Cool. All right. Thanks, Rick. Appreciate it. How do people get in touch with you if they want to learn more about your membership community, or hiring you directly, or just following you so they can learn from you? Because you do publish a lot on LinkedIn and
Yeah.
and
But
share-
yeah, you could follow me at LinkedIn. I'm at Rick. My handle is Rick Kranz at
Yep.
LinkedIn, and the AI Marketing Automation Lab is AI-marketingautomation.com.
Got it. And it's Rick Kranz, RickKranz. So
That's right.
You can Google and find that. Cool. Thanks, Rick. Appreciate you sharing everything, all your wisdom with us, hard earned. And I will probably talk to you tomorrow. But
Yeah. Take care, Pete. Thanks.